Okay, well, thanks again for joining me. So this is the second session in this Texas City Process Safety Roadmap. The first session we had a look at what was happening on the facility, what were the early warning signs that a fatal incident was going to happen, and where were there some opportunities that the team missed to learn from incidents they were having at the facility and maybe make a correction before the incident, and finally culminating in sort of a couple of cries for help from the operations team to management to say, please help us. We know we have a process safety problem. We need to fix it. Okay, so in 1991, so this is the year before the OSHA sighting, Amoco proposes removal of all blowdown stacks, right? So this is that they are going to have all the blowdown stacks which are locally venting, which is what happened in the incident in 2005. All of those stacks locally venting, they will be removed and replaced with connections to the flare. The reason that this is more beneficial is because the fluids from the flare header are routed to a safe location, i.e. away from people, and they are ignited or burned so that they cannot accumulate to make dangerous accumulations of explosive gas. However, just 1 year later in 1992, Amoco cancels the project to remove the blowdown stacks. In 1993, Amoco proposes a new project, but it's cancelled again in the same year. So they know that this is a problem, they know they need to do something, but there is something, maybe budget-wise, which is preventing them from actually executing and moving this forward. In 1994, Amoco decides to cut staff to reap the cost savings. So in 1994 is the first time in this timeline that we're looking at, but Amoco cut the staffing on the facility at Texas City. If we fast forward now to 1998, Amoco and BP merger. So BP acquires Amoco assets on the 31st of December 1998. And just 1 year later, they instruct Texas City Refinery to cut the budget by 25% to bring it in line with delivery from other facilities. And that's what they do. 2 years after that, BP launched a Process Safety Integrity Management Standard. And this is a standard which is saying, this is how we do process safety in BP, this is what we expect of you, this is the good practice, and this is what we want to see happening. But just 1 year later, they propose more budget cuts, and they initiate the project again to replace the blowdown drums. So when they review the budget cuts before they propose any, they find that the budgets have been cut 84% since 1992. So that's almost the beginning of our timeline. The budget has been cut by 84%. And when they've been doing this cut, they haven't actually been considering what is actually required for this facility. They've just been cutting budgets. And then the engineers, the BP engineers, propose to connect the drum to the flare, and the project is launched and cancelled within a year. In 2003, there's further profit concerns, and a new initiative to reduce costs is initiated on the facility. In 2004, an executive visits the site celebrating the best ever recordable injury frequency. Now, Charlie and I have discussed the difference between process safety and occupational safety. If you want to see that video, have a look at PSM 101 online to see how you can access it. But you can see here they are celebrating the best ever performance for a recordable injury frequency. But if you've seen the video that I recorded earlier in the week, you can see that actually there were other incidents which were happening at the facility which were indicating a pretty poor process safety performance, but they were still celebrating this best personal safety performance. And this is where the executives were focused at that time, on the personal safety performance rather than the process safety performance. And then just over a year later, we culminate in the incident which kills 15 people at the end of 2005. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put both of those onto one slide so that you can see what was happening at the site and what was coming from management, you can see how it seems like there's a mismatch, right? So site are seeing all these incidents. Again, they're missing a couple of opportunities to learn, but they're not getting, say, the support from corporate or senior management to support the activities. They've had an 84% budget cut, right, in 10 years. Do you think that they have sufficient resources to be looking into the different incidents, making sure the reports are done, making sure the right people are in the HAZOP? Probably not. If any of you have run a HAZOP on your facility, a large HAZOP, you realize that it takes the senior engineers, it should take the senior engineers out of action for quite some time. And if you don't actually have that ullage in your manning, maybe the people who are attending the HAZOP do not have sufficient experience of the facility. So you can see that the decisions that the senior management made impacted the way in which the operations team were able to learn from incidents, but also it gives a level of distrust, because I'm seeing this fire, these gas clouds, and all management are telling me to do is cut costs. Then they tell me process safety is really important, and then they tell me to cut costs again. So you can see that even if you are talking the talk, process safety is really important. If you're not walking the talk, if you're not actually delivering on that, listening to the site, giving them the budget to address their process safety issues, it can breed a distrust between the two levels. And often that is seen in process safety culture survey results, that there is a stark knowledge of the poor process safety performance at the site, and senior management have almost no idea that this is happening. So if you're interested in that, again, check out our upcoming process safety forum, where we're going to be inviting a specialist on process safety culture, and she's going to be able to answer any questions you might have about common process safety culture issues, and she has extensive experience. So really looking forward to that session, and that will be held on the 7th of October. So put that in your diaries or subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. Well, thank you very much again for listening. If you have any comments on this information was taken from the CSB report. So again, I'll put the link down below. And also, if you haven't watched the video to see what happened on the day of the incident, I'll put that link below as well. All right. Thank you very much.